Hi everyone, welcome to POC Nurse. My name is Gozi. In today's video, I want to talk about something that's not related to education in nursing. I want to talk about my experience going to nursing school, how I got into nursing school, and how I made it through as an immigrant, a mom with small children, and someone who did not drive. I decided to do this video because I see a lot of questions on the internet where people are asking, can I go to nursing school? I have small children. How can I go to nursing school as an immigrant in the United States? And is it possible to go to nursing school when you're married, you have children, you don't drive? Things of that nature. So I'm hoping my story will give someone the encouragement they need to take that leap and believe that they can do it. Here we go. So I came into this country. When I was here initially, I was a stay-home mom for a long time. My husband is a United States citizen. He's from here. So I was home. I was home for a while. I made a friend. She was also an immigrant, and she would come over, we talked. We never talked about like future aspirations or anything. But she'd been observing me, asking me questions. So one day she came over. At that point, we both had 2 children. She had a set of twins, and I had a 5-year-old and a newborn. She came to me just before the summer of that year, and she was like, why don't you go to nursing school? Why don't you become a nurse? And I said, no, I don't want to do it. And I said no because of my experience of what nursing is in my country. And she was like, no, let me explain to you what nursing is like here is very different, because she was also an immigrant from where I'm from. So she explained how nursing is different here and how, she has observed me and it would fit me perfectly. So I said, okay, I will look into it. And she gave me all the resources I needed. At that point, she told me, there's a nursing school, which I never knew. There's a nursing school close to us. You can take one bus and get there, because I didn't know how to drive. You can take the bus, it will drop you right in front, and then you can walk. So I said, okay, I'll try. I'll call the school up and see what they say. So I called the school, and they asked me to apply. And when I would call to follow up, they told me, you don't have the prerequisites that we need to accept you into this program. You need microbiology, anatomy, physiology, psychology, and statistics. I think that was all that they needed. So I said, okay, I'll do all of them. It was the summer, and I feel like they didn't think I was going to be able to do everything in one summer. I said, I'm going to do all the prerequisites and then I'm going to come back. And they were like, okay, if you finish the prerequisites, you pass everything, come back to us and we'll consider you then. So at this point, I did not have a firm admission into that school, but that was the only school I applied for. And my friend had told me, you have a bachelor's degree, it's an accelerated program, so you'll only be in school for about a year and a couple of months, and then you can start working. So I said, okay. Remember, I didn't drive. I have a newborn and I have a 5-year-old. My 5-year-old goes to school. I take my 5-year-old to school. But I had support. My husband could drive, and I had another friend whose daughter went to the same school as my 5-year-old. So sometimes she would pick him up or pick us up, me and my 5-year-old, and would all go to school together. So I applied to this nursing school, and I started looking for schools where I could go take the prerequisites. For the first part of summer, I found 2 schools. The one school I found to do statistics at was about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from me. And that class was every Saturday throughout the summer. I think there was a part 1 and a part 2 to statistics. I did both parts at that school. And then I went to school Monday through Thursday at another college that was maybe 45 minutes away from me if you drive. I didn't drive, so I took the train. So I went to that school Monday through Thursday. Now remember, I have a newborn, so I have to put my newborn somewhere. My 5-year-old was still going to school. Summer was just starting, I believe. So what I did was I found a daycare that was close to the college where I went to Monday through Thursday. I went there, I visited, I liked it. And so what happened was I would now, so I registered at these two schools for the first half of the summer prerequisites. So what happened was I would wake up really early in the morning, get my 5-year-old all ready for school so his dad could drop him off, and then I'll get me and my newborn ready, pop my newborn in a stroller, and start walking to the bus stop very early in the morning. And I used to walk by my friend's front door on my way to the bus stop. She runs in the morning, so sometimes I'd see her by her window, I'd wave. Sometimes I'd be so focused on trying to get to the bus on time, I wouldn't see her. But she used to see me, and she told me, years later, that she used to see me going to school in the morning very early with my baby in the stroller. Sometimes I'd be running so I could make it to the bus. And another thing was because I didn't drive, I took the bus everywhere. The bus drivers knew me. So if they would see me coming from a distance and they're about to leave, they'd wait for me. And I'd hop on with my baby and the stroller and everything. And I'd take the first bus. After the first bus, I got on a train. When I got off that train, I would drop my daughter off at the daycare. The daycare was close to the train station, so I'd pop over there, drop her off, and then go back and wait for the bus to the college. So this was what I did for the first half of summer, and I was always late for the first class, anatomy and physiology, and I think it annoyed the professor. So we started taking, so after the first couple of weeks, we started taking tests, I think every Thursday or something, and I would be late for that test. And initially, the professor did not give me extra time to finish the test. But I didn't need the extra time. I used to finish, before some of the people that started the test before me, sometimes after. But I usually would have enough time to finish the test. I would turn in my work, and I usually did well. So one time she asked me, why I was always late. So I explained to her, how I get to school in the morning. I come with my baby, I drop her off at the daycare, then I wait for the bus to bring me here. So she told me there was a shuttle that could bring me from the train station to the school. And I started getting on that shuttle. And then she started giving me extra time to finish my test. Even though I didn't really need it, I never needed the extra time. I would still always finish along with the rest of the students or before the rest of the students that were still writing the test. And again, another student offered to pick me up from the train station and bring me to school so I could get there earlier. So it's like as I was going along, I was getting support from people I knew and people that I just met, which was very helpful and which is something I want you to take note of if you're thinking of going to nursing school and you have things that you feel are barriers for you. We all need support. You're going to need support. And I had support. I had support in my husband. I had support, in my friend, which I'll get to later. And some of the students that I met in school. And so this is what I did till I finished the first half of summer school. I passed all of the prerequisites. So you do anatomy and physiology 1 and 2. So I passed everything in the part 1 of the prerequisites. So when it came to the part 2, I continued to go to the school that was an hour and a half away to 2 hours for my statistics. And how did I get there? My husband would drop me off in the morning, so I'd pack up the kids. We get in the car, he'd drop me off in the morning, they would leave. And then after the class, I would take, it was hard to go home from that school. I had to wait for a bus for a long time to take me to the train station. And then once I got to the train station, I was good. I'd wait for the train. Once the train picked me up, I get off the train, get on another train, and then get on the bus to go home. But I was so blessed. I met again another student that started giving me a ride from the school to the train station, and it cut down on the amount of time it took me to get home. So I stayed in that school for the second half of statistics. Now, for my Monday to Thursday schooling, I had to go to another school, I believe, for anatomy and physiology. And I stayed in the school that was 45 minutes away for microbiology, for the second half of microbiology. So now I was going to 3 different schools. However, the third school was in the city where I lived, so it was closer. So what I did was I put my newborn in a daycare that was close to where we live. And for the microbiology, I didn't have to be there so early in the morning. And for the anatomy and physiology, which I was now taking close to where I lived, I didn't have to put my baby in the daycare that was closer to the college that was about 45 minutes away. So I put her in a daycare close to the house. And at this point, I believe my 5-year-old was out of school. So my 5-year-old also started going to like a summer school for the summer. So I still couldn't drive. I was still taking the bus. I was still taking the trains. My husband was still driving me to the school that was about 2 hours away. So I continued to do this till I finished all of my prerequisites. And then I had all of my transcripts sent to the nursing school. I called them up to say, I finished all of the prerequisites you asked for, and here are the results. All of the transcripts have been sent to you. And so I was so blessed because I'd only applied to this one school, no other school. And I was hoping against hope that I was going to get in there. And they offered me an admission. I was very happy. I was very grateful. I started school there in either August or September of that year after I finished summer school. I started there. I still couldn't drive, and I was still taking the bus. But because the school was close to me, I felt I could walk. But when I started walking, I was very late. And my newborn was still going to daycare. And I believe at this point, school had started for my 5-year-old. So this is when my other friend comes in that used to take us to school sometimes. They used to take my 5-year-old to school sometimes. Now she started taking my 5-year-old every day. And she'd pick up, sometimes I'd go with them and then walk from my 5-year-old school to the nursing school. Sometimes if she was too early, I wouldn't try to make them late. She would take my 5-year-old, they would go, and I'd find my way to school, to nursing school. So initially I would walk and I'd be late. And then I started walking to the bus stop. I would take the bus. And then the school was on a steep kind of hill. So I would walk up that hill, and I would get winded and tired by the time I got to school. But then I found out that there was a shuttle that could take me. Once I got off the bus, I could get on the shuttle and drive me up that hill to the school. And I got on that shuttle as often as I could. And then I started getting to school on time. But then I started writing exams, and I wasn't doing so well. And, I didn't want to continue to not do well. I wanted to get ahead of it. So I spoke to one of our very nice professors, very approachable. I told her, I'm not doing well. And I'm usually a very good scholar. I'm a good student. I can study and do well. But I'm not doing well here, and I don't know why. And she asked me what my routine was, after school, what do you do? So I told her after school, I go home. I pick up my 5-year-old from school. I go pick up my newborn from daycare. I go home, I cook and clean. We do homework, and I do house stuff. And she was like, so when do I study? I really didn't study. I really didn't study that much. I studied a little bit thinking it was going to be enough. And it wasn't. Not that it wasn't enough, but I didn't understand the questions. And, everyone will tell you the way nursing school exams are structured and the answers that are expected is different from regular exams. So she explained that to me, and she told me I had to not only study on my own, I had to study in a group, and I had to do questions. So I took her advice. She told me to stop going home, leave the kids in school, leave them in daycare, and you go after school, you go study. When you're done studying, then you can go pick up your kids, go home and do your home stuff. So that's what I started doing. I started studying with my peers, studying on my own, doing questions with my peers and on my own. And then after that, I'll go pick up my kids, do all the home stuff, and study some more. Because I could see, this nursing school thing, they're not playing. And I have to kind of step up and study harder. And I started to do better. Again, I had support of my friend taking my 5-year-old to school. And I do the pickup after school to go home. And I also had some students in nursing school that will take me home. We'd pick up my 5-year-old and they will help me pick up my baby from daycare, and they drop me off at home. It was very helpful when you talk about saving time. But that didn't happen a lot, and it was okay because the school was close to where I lived at the time, so I could make it back and forth. Okay. So this is what I did throughout nursing school. I passed the HESI exit exam. The month nursing school ended, I found out I was pregnant. And after I had my third baby, I started looking for work as a nurse. I took my NCLEX while I was heavily pregnant. So I believe I finished September of the following year that I got into nursing school. Found out I was pregnant, and I didn't take my NCLEX until the winter because I remember going in heavily pregnant in my sweater and my jacket. I don't like being cold, so I really bundled up myself. I had to travel by train to go take to go take the NCLEX. I passed the NCLEX. I had my baby, and then I started looking for work. So first I did a nurse residency program, and from that nurse residency program, one of the nurses there helped me find a job at another hospital where I got my first job of that year. And so that first job was labor and delivery, and the nurse residency program I did was also in labor and delivery. So from that first job, since that first job, I've worked as a labor and delivery nurse. I did that for a very long time. Gave me a lot of skills that I didn't realize I was getting. From there, I worked in the ER. I did PACU. I did a lot of pre-op PACU jobs because in L&D we do C-sections, and you have to pre-op the patient, you have to circulate, and you have to recover the patient. PACU/recovery room. So I did that. I did ER. I did pre-op. I did PACU. I worked in the ICU. While you're in the ICU, you get floated. I got floated to tele. I got floated to PCU. And recently, I did home care. I did home health care. So I've done a lot of things nursing-wise. I really like being a nurse. I like the difference I can see and making people's lives. It is rewarding. There are other negatives to it, but I try to focus on the positive. I try to put myself in positive places to work in, just so that the job goes on easier, I would say. But yeah, that is my story of how I went to nursing school, married, with small children, and could not drive. If you have any questions about how to, navigate nursing school as someone whose situation is similar to what mine was with children as an immigrant, not able to drive, or if you have any questions in general about your nursing school journey, how to start, how to get through it, you can leave me questions in the comment and I'll do my best to answer. I hope my story helps someone out there. I hope it encourages someone out there. Even if it's one person, it'd be awesome. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye now.